navy blue of Victoria.
Uses his feet and goes again through mid-wicket. That's an even better shot from the Victorian captain.
Swept away very nicely by Nicole Bolton for four.
Oh, he's been given! That is 50. The man from Northcote.
And welcome to a new season of the Vic State Cricket Podcast. I'm Adam White. A new season, a new opportunity to talk to one of the stars of the Victorian cricket team, just to talk about what he's done during the off-season and what the season might hold. And we've also got to look at this new sort of setup here with Tinnies. They're really involved in the podcast this year, so we thank you for your support. Fergos O'Neill is our first guest this year. Season 3. Welcome, Ferg.
Whitey, how you going?
I'm going well. What have you been doing during the off-season to get yourself ready for a new cricket season?
It's a good question, Whitey. I think you separate it between off-season and pre-season. My off-season was lots of fun. A few trips away, a couple of weekends away in Australia, and then we're in Bali with a few of the lads. It was good fun, and then come back, and it's been into pre-season mode, and we've been having a good crack and ready to go, and yeah, evidently shown by a good start to the one-day comp.
We'll get to that shortly. I'm interested in what you do to sort of decompress after a long season. It's probably the most you've ever bowled in a cricket season across many different forms of the game. How long does it take, and what are the sort of things you do to just rest your body?
Yeah, I think a whole lot of nothing is probably the answer. I try and do as little as possible. Get out, play some golf. I've been spending a bit of time in the water in the mornings in the winter, but we'll find out if that's positive or not. But I've been enjoying that. Just trying to stay in routine. I think that's the hard thing. Off season, you go from a lot of structure and we've got games and we're playing here, there, and whatnot to no structure at all. So that's probably the hard thing to find the balance. But no, just try and cruise, really relax. The pre-season and the off-season for me is a good time. There's no pressure. That's probably the easiest time of the year. Anyone can run, anyone can do the gym. It's the skill side of the sport is what's hard, so we don't have to worry about that in the off-season. So I do enjoy that.
Was there a theme for you personally from the end of last season going into this season that you wanted to do during that 4 or 5 months that you've got between seasons?
Yeah, well, I think if I'm not going to go overseas and play any competitive cricket, it's probably a good time to put back into your body and try and get as fit and as strong as I can. And I think that's probably when you look at the likes of Sid still playing at 40 and Scotty Boland, who's basically never missed a game. They've put time into their body. So, us young boys looking at that, that's what we tried to do. And really, whether that was with our running or with our gym stuff, and just, I think a lot of prehab stuff, cricketers, we don't go in and do the bench press and whatnot to look nice, but we do a lot of mobility and prehab stuff. I think the phys prep will be happy with me saying, phys prep staff, and just try and get myself right for the season. You know what it's like. It's long season. You can't really prepare for standing out in the field for 8 hours at a time, probably 50 times a year. So just trying to get myself right for that.
What about, was there a bad taste in the mouth with what happened at the end of last year? Just missed out on the One Day Cup final. And then from a Shield point of view, it looked like you were going to play in the final and then fell short over the last couple of matches. Is that a sting in the tail that sort of fuels not just you but the entire group through a pre-season, or do you try and forget about it and look forward?
Yeah, I definitely think that holds weight. There's always motivation, but yeah, I feel like every year, you want to, especially we've had some success recently, not necessarily lifting trophies, but being in finals and being right around the mark. If you feel like if you're not in a final or playing for silverware, it's a bit of a failed season. So there's definitely a bit of a sting in the tail. And I think, you try and use that as fuel to the fire, but motivation comes and goes. I think it's the discipline that we're trying to instill and get that sorted for what's going to hold us in good stead.
So what do you mean discipline?
Well, anyone can be motivated to do something when you have a close loss or it doesn't go your way, but doing that regardless of the outcome or regardless of if there's fuel in the fire, that's probably why a lot of the country admires WA to go back to back to back in white ball and red ball. They don't have motivation to win. They've won it once before, but they just keep finding a way, and that's probably what we're trying to get to. If you look at the demographic of our squad, there's no reason why we couldn't go on a ridiculous streak of wins. So that's going to stem from, more discipline as opposed to motivation. I think that's what we've been trying to do.
And there's been a bit of a theme too around that connection piece. Now, you're a pretty close group anyway, particularly that young core of players that are all kind of coming through together, of which you're one of. I don't want to sort of divulge too many secrets, but what is that connection piece that can help you be a better cricket team?
Well, I think tapping into the past players has been big for us, and I think understanding that you're playing for something bigger than yourself, and every time I play, I'm representing myself, my family, my friends, past players, and so is every other player. Everyone that wore 17, I'm representing all of my family. I got my Taranaki hardcore hat on. That's back from my NZ family that support me to my Australia family. So that's the same for every single player. If you can buy into something that you're playing for something bigger than just yourself, I think that's what we're trying to get to. And we had a good chat with Simon O'Donnell, obviously a Victorian and Australian legend, and obviously played with Tom O'Donnell coming through the ranks and at Victoria. Like, he spoke about still now he's invested in what we're doing. I don't want to quote how old he is, but I'm going to guess 60, 65 at a guess. And, for him to say that he still cares about Victoria and how we're all going is massive. If we can't, gain some motivation or gain some edge from that, then what can you gain some edge from?
And I think it's a wider conversation around the support that the Victorian cricket team gets from the fans, cricket fans, sport fans, particularly when it comes to Victoria. There's not too many teams called Victoria. There's a lot of Melbournes and things like that, but Victoria. So that it's pretty powerful to play for the Big V and what that means, not just for the current players, the former players, but for Victorian sports fans, I guess.
100%. Yeah, you probably don't realise how broad it is, like as you said, footy players playing for North Melbourne or St Kilda, you're playing for just a suburb, you know what I mean? But to play for the whole state and represent a lot more is very, it's pretty special. So I think we've got to tap into that and try and appeal to as many people as possible. And fans from country Victoria and fans from inner city Victoria. It's a great point when you think about it like that. And then obviously we got the Australian representatives on top of that coming back and playing. That gives us an even bigger spectrum to tap into. So I definitely think we're on the right path there with playing for something bigger than ourselves.
We'll talk about the One Day Cup matches to start the season shortly, the Sheffield Shield season on our doorstep against Tasmania. But just a general feeling about the group going into this year, because it could be a complicated season, and that's in a good sense, with a lot more potential Australian representation across the different forms. We've seen Matt Short have his breakout year a couple of years ago now. That means we're not seeing as much of him. Will Sutherland got his opportunity to play for Australia as well last summer. Hopefully it's not too far away for you, Todd Murphy, when it comes to Australia A games this year. That means that the depth is going to be tested, but the feeling is around the group, the depth is there.
100%. I think... I don't know the exact saying, but it's along the lines of teams win games, squads win flags, or I think it might be right. But that's what it's going to have to be. It's time for some people to stand up and time for some people to move on to higher honours. And we've seen that with Shorty. Like, that's the greatest thing about our gig is you get to watch your teammates actually surpass you and go on to bigger and better things. And then, as you said, a domino effect of that is the boys coming through. So we're all excited for that. I know we're all invested in playing for Victoria, but when there's higher honours opportunities, then that's great. And we hope and we know that with the culture we're trying to bring and breed, that the next bloke in can do just as good of a job.
And as we've seen through the One Day Cup, so we'll get to that now. 2 matches played, already 2 victories in the back pocket, which is really important to get early season wins. What sort of vibe does that create around the group when you hit the ground running straight away?
Yeah, it's huge. As you know, with the One Day Cup, you start 2-0, you're halfway there. You start 0-2, you're all over the place. So it's a very, very good start, and I think it just gives you a bit of belief going into the Shield season and you already feel like you got something to play for. There's silverware on the line potentially. If you start the opposite way, it can feel like a long road back. So we're very excited about what we can do there. And as you said, that's without Matt Short playing, without Scott Boland playing. So yeah, I still think our best team, there's stuff to add there, and we had two pretty good performances.
Sam Elliott was the headline act in game one, and then did very well with the batting in game two as well. I'm just interested though in that it was an even performance. There wasn't the star factor, really being the headline act. Sam, one of the younger players, but if you take out his individual performance, everyone did a little bit, which I think is a bit of a characteristic of the group.
100%. Like, Sammy's 7 for 12. You're never going to. I don't think that'll ever be beaten. Yeah, that was amazing, but backed up by, Harpsy took 6 catches behind the stumps, a couple of good catches at Merles, and I think Digger took a good catch at point off Sammy as well. So it does feel like it's a team effort, and that's the thing with one-day cricket. Sometimes one player can, Shorty, for argument's sake, can get 150 and you're going to win the game regardless, but those 2 games didn't feel like that. As you said, minus Sammy's 7 for, bit of brilliance there. It was all chip in here, chip in there, good catch there, good run out there. I don't know if we're going to run out, but yeah, that's kind of the stuff that makes a good team.
Marcus Harris's catch, did you think he was going to take it?
He took 2 catches, one back with the flight against Tassie.
He did too, yes.
And then the one against Queensland. I cannot believe either of them, to be honest. I gave him he was 100 to 1 in the air for the back to the flight, and then 200 to 1 in the air against Queensland, and he's cashed in both times. So credit to him. There's a bit of a running joke going on that ever since he's had his young boy Max, he's learned how to field, and he's been unbelievable. So I hope it keeps going.
Absolutely, and hopefully that now translates into runs as we start the Sheffield Shield season. So 2-0 to start the One Day Cup, and then Tasmania to start things off here at Junction Oval. That transition from white ball to red ball, I know it's really early in the season, but is it difficult to change modes sort of almost immediately?
Yeah, I think it's probably a harder transition from red ball to white ball as opposed to white ball to red ball. For the bowlers at least, but for the batters it might be, the wickets are going to look different if it's anything like last year, and yeah, you might have to bring back your stroke banking a little bit, but I think we've still got the element of experience and people who have done that before, so I'm sure the younger boys will be leaning on them and figuring out how to go about it all. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think we're in a good stead for round one, and we can't take Tassie lightly after the season they had last year. So I think it's a good challenge to get them first up, and we'll know where we sit after that game. It's
going to be a little bit different at the top. Chandrasinghe is going to play. We know about the issues with Will going into this season. Will it be the same sort of feel to the way you play your cricket, or are you making some adjustments? Because, as I said, you very nearly made the Sheffield Shield final last year. You made it the year before with a similar sort of group. So is it more of the same?
I think it's more of the same. The year we made the Shield final and won those 4 games in a row after Christmas, Chandy played in all 4. So I think I don't think it's going to change much. As we said, there's going to be more opportunity for those coming through, and it's for one of them to stand up. I think in the years prior, it's been, Pez stood up with the ball in that season we made the final. A few people chipped in last year, and I think it's time for a Chandrasinghe or a Callaway or Brasher, Rogers, whoever it is that comes in to stamp their place in the side. Merlot, that's the great thing, as you said, about people going to higher honours. It gives someone else an opportunity, and they're going to have the full backing of the squad and the coaching staff, and I think we're going to hopefully fire some shots.
Of course, it's not just Will Maddison's the other one that's not there, unfortunately, for Victoria this year. But I'm just interested in, it's going to be a biased answer in a way, but the bowling group changed over the last couple of years, of which you've played a really important part in it. But you mentioned Perry, McClure is another one, clearly Todd Murphy as well. It's the young brigade that has come through and almost taken ownership of the bowling group with, the luxury of having a Scotty Boland or a Peter Siddle as the experience. Could the batting group get some confidence out of what they've seen from the bowling group over the last couple of years? And as you said, okay, it's our time now.
Oh, I think 100%. If you go back to that run we got on a couple of years ago, we were looking around with no Scotty. Sids wasn't playing for us and going, it's up to us now. And I think that's where you sink or swim and you grow a leg and you become a man in some way, shape or form in the game. And I think, we were lucky that we got our chance to do that and we stepped up and did that. And I think, Pekowski, Maddinson and Dean's another one that we forget about.
Yes, definitely.
So now for Callers, Chandy, Brasher, Rogers, Merlo, whoever it is, there's no one else. So, you know what I mean? It's your time to shine, I think. And I believe that those boys are going to be well and truly ready to go. That's the luxury with having Harry, Pete and Shorty as well. You're not thrown into the deep end, 5 blokes that have played 3 games. You're going to be batting with a star at the other end. So if we can bleed in the youth and the belief, and it could be anything, I think.
You had an extraordinary year last year, and I think it's headlined by the fact that you've been named the Bradman Young Cricketer of the Year. That is a huge accomplishment, and it does usually mean higher honours are ahead for you into the future. Just when you cast your mind back to that night and getting up in front of the entire Australian cricket family and to be known as the Young Bradman Cricketer of the Year, what was that like?
Yeah, it's obviously surreal. You don't really expect it. I've never really enjoyed the individual accolades. I'm always preferred to, the team accolades, but probably something I'll look back on and be proud of. And I think I was proud of it at the at that stage. It probably sunk in when you're right there and you're doing the interviews and whatnot around all the big boys. But I'm just trying to stay grounded. It's another game. It's another season. I can't, if you read your own press, you can't ride the roller coaster. That's what we kind of say. If you're going bad and you're reading the press, or you're going good and you're reading the press, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I'm just ready to play again and hopefully be able to contribute again. It's a new season, new game, new players, just same goes.
It is an extraordinary ride though. Like I look at your figures, 18 matches, 67 wickets at 20 with an incredible economy rate. And then the list A matches, 13 matches, 20 wickets at 23. So that's your numbers as it stands at the moment. But I think the one that stands out for me is that to get to 50 wickets at an average of 21, there's only Copeland, Bird and Paris in this century that have been able to do it as quickly as you've been able to do it at. Do you have to pinch yourself at times and think, this is crazy what's going on here?
Oh, I've probably been lucky with how the wickets have been playing. They've probably suited me more than anyone else. But no, definitely those stats, I try not to look too much at them. But you do look at those players and what those guys have done, and you are to be in the same bracket as those guys is pretty special. So I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, as I said, it's who knows, the wickets might all be flat like it's playing in Pakistan this year, and then it's a new challenge. So I can't get too far ahead of myself. I'm just ready to play for Victoria and win games, and then whatever happens from there happens from there.
Do you like the responsibility now? Because it kind of feels like Fergus O'Neill bowls well, Victoria a good chance of winning, as opposed to it being Boland, Siddle, and in the past we go back to the likes of Pattinson and Holland, etc. I'm probably missing out a few along the way, but do you like that responsibility of being the man?
Well, I think I like that I've probably earned the respect. I feel like that's how the game works. You come in and your name's probably highlighted on the board as this is the guy we can target, and then progressively that highlights change to this is the guy we don't want to get out to. So I'm presuming that's what's happened. I hope that's what happens. But I feel like respect is earned, and I'd like to think that I've earned the respect of the other states now. And yeah, when they play against me and when they play against Victoria, they know they're in for a tough battle. So I do enjoy that. But as opposed to being the man, I think we're a unit in that kind of sense. We're all the men. We understand whether it's my day to take 5 for not many, or Pez's day, or Sutho's day, or McClure, Boland, Siddle, whoever it is. It's a bit of a team thing. Like I think that's the individual accolades are cool, but a lot of our KPIs and whatnot that we do with Adam Griffiths, the bowling coach, and even Peter Siddle and Scotty helping out, they're all team based. So we're not too bothered. If it's my day to take wickets, great. If it's someone else's, even better.
Do you like the fact that you're unique with your skill set compared to most other players around the country? It's well documented about you might not have the airspeed of some of the other players, but your bowling craft, your consistency, the fact that you are different is becoming a bit of a point of difference for the team.
Well, I think you just said it there, point of difference. That's what it is, isn't it? Like, there's only one Fergus O'Neill, there's only one Will Sutherland, there's only one Michael Nessa. So that's your biggest weapon. I'm not trying to be the next Michael Nessa or the next 6 foot Josh Hazlewood. I'm just trying to be the first Fergus O'Neill. So I think that's where it's good. I'm enjoying that. Yeah, I am a point of difference, and I think we all complement each other. So if you look at our bowling attack that we finished with last year, you know, no one bowls like Bazza. Sutho's nipping it the other way. Pez is more swing, and I'm shorter guy, skiddy hitting the stumps. So it all complements each other. I think a lot of time people can get pigeonholed with, oh, you bowl like this guy, try and be like that. Like, just I'm pretty content with how I go, and if it doesn't go my way, at least it didn't go my way because I wasn't good enough. I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. So I'm enjoying that.
Was there a time where you tried to be someone different, where you felt you had to bowl faster, you had to have more tricks, rather than celebrate what you did have? And I'm interested in the role of both Adam Dale on your cricket and then also Cameron White, both from the Melbourne Cricket Club, where you were from, in that sort of foundation period, which wasn't that long ago, to be fair, either.
Yeah, you probably took the two people out of my mouth there. I think having Adam Dale from a young age, he instilled to me that I don't need to be anything that I'm not. He was obviously very, very similar to how I bowl, and you know, there's always going to be a place for that. You only got to look at the county stuff. There's probably hundreds of me over there, so you know, there's always a place for that. And Whitey was very good in that sense. You know, there's a quote: "I am who I'm not. I never be. I'm not trying to do anything I'm not. I can't bowl like Sutho and get the bounce that he does, or McClure, or bowl as fast as Paddo did, but I can do what I do, and I can do that well." And both Whitey and Adam gave me the belief and the backing that was enough. Now, obviously, you can always expand. I'd love another 5Ks or 10Ks, but I'm not. You know, that's going to happen progressively. That's not going to just be. I'm not just going to come in and start trying to bowl 140 all of a sudden. But yeah, I definitely think if I want to keep going in that trajectory, I need to upskill and find other ways. Which I've been working with bowling coach and Griff, that is, and Scotty and Sids closely.
So you've got it's an embarrassment of riches, really, when you think about it, to have Adam Griffith as your bowling coach, and then you've got Siddle and Boland, you know, in the group as well. How important is that to your development to have that sort of, I don't know, that extra coaches just that are around you all the time?
Yeah, I think that's a blessing. It's very lucky to be here in that time, and I had Paddo for a year as well, which can't forget how good he was. I just think that's probably one thing that I've done well is lean on those guys, because everything that I've ever done and ever wanted to do, they've done 20 times over. So if you don't lean on them, then you're probably costing yourself a little bit. And I've been lucky I debuted and roomed with Bazza, and then I try and spend a lot of time with the older boys, even the older batters, and just lean on them. I think, you know, it's the first time doing things for me and for a lot of the younger boys, but it's their 100th. So if I can gain any edge in that sense, I'm going to try and make the most of it. And
then just one final one on, from a coaching support point of view, Chris Rogers. I don't think he quite sometimes gets enough credit for the way that he has such belief in the younger players. You know, the way he's thrown you a lot of responsibility early in your career. You're one of, I could give you 5 or 6 examples in the group that he does seem to give a lot of faith to the youngsters and give you a bit of ownership and responsibility. Yeah, I think he's been great. Personally, obviously, with him playing a lot of county cricket, he had a lot of belief and faith in me because he faced a lot of bowlers that bowled similarly to me. And then, to put his probably coaching career on the back foot and take a risk by playing some younger guys, which could be detrimental to his record as a coach, to upskill us and get us and our squad to be where it is probably goes to show how selfless he is. And I think we are hoping to be able to repay him. And if you look at what we've done the last couple of years with the age demographic of our squad, we probably have. So now it's time to
continue to repay the faith and, hopefully win some trophies and celebrate with him. That's what you play for.
A couple more before we finish up as sort of a season preview, but also to get to know a little bit more about Fergus O'Neill. When you came onto the scene, you were the guy with the rat's tail, the landscape gardener, did things differently, and that was almost the commentary around you. Whereas now it's about the guy that takes wickets. Do you still embrace that other side of Fergus O'Neill, the foundation, or is it now you love the fact that people just focus on you and your cricket?
No, you can't forget where you come from and what you are. I don't think I've changed at all. Maybe, as you said, I've probably earned a bit more respect in the cricketing world. So now it's less about what I was doing prior and more about how I'm playing. But I'm still the same person. Doesn't matter if I had 10 wickets at 100 or 57 wickets at 20. It doesn't make a difference.
67
at 20.
You've got to get it right.
It doesn't make a difference for me. I'm just same old and just I'm trying to stay like that. If you only got to look again, I blab on about the older boys, but Scotty is the same humble person he's been from when he was here at 20 years old to he might be 34 or 35 now after all his accolades, 6 for 7 at the G, and he's still quiet and shy and doesn't want to raise the ball when he gets a 5 for. Like that's, if we can idolise anyone, it's probably that guy. As I was speaking about before, if you ride the roller coaster, if all of a sudden I'm this superstar because I'm going all right, then you're setting yourself up for failure because there's going to be times where I'm not going well. So just try and stay level. Do
you think that foundation of not having it as easy as everybody else, not going through the pathways as easy as everybody else, has helped you have that sort of grounded philosophy, or is that your family and your friends? Because I do think it's probably a lesson for people that are listening here that you don't have to be in representative squads at 12, 14, 16. There are many different ways that you can actually sort of work your way through the ranks to represent your state.
100%. I obviously starts from family. I'm lucky I got a very good family. Dad especially keeps me in check, makes sure I'm not getting ahead of myself. So do my uncles and cousins, and that's always great. But I think there's many avenues, and it gave me a good perspective working from young and understanding what I could be doing to what I am doing now. What I'm doing now for what I'm getting paid to do is chalk and cheese to what I was doing to get paid half as much. So, it's about the lifestyle as well. The money's not everything. I think the lifestyle is great. I get to go to places I've never been and travel around with your mates, and you're not working, 8 hours a day. I'm doing this on a work day. So, it's pretty good. I definitely think it holds you in good stead. There's no right or wrong way, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's given me a good perspective and understanding, which makes me appreciate what I have now a lot more.
And just finally, what are the aims for you this year? We've talked a lot about Victoria and what's capable. When you are the Bradman Cricketer of the Year, when you do have 67 wickets at an average of 20 through 18 matches, you're on the right path towards what might happen, where you might be able to trade a navy blue cap for a green cap, but you tend to be more the baggy, the floppy hat type situation. But is it hard not to think about what is possible in the next sort of 12 to 24 months, or are you very much it's about what's happening now, not what's happening in the future?
No, I think it's about what's happening now. I could get injured tomorrow. We don't really know. So I'm just looking forward to play for Victoria and try and win as many games as I can for Victoria. I want to have a better stint in the Big Bash this year. Hopefully I can get opportunity there again with the Renegades. I think that's the way cricket's going. So I'd like to try and keep developing my white ball. Otherwise, I'm just trying to, whatever team it is, I'm just trying to play well for and perform. And I think at the end of the day, it'll all look after itself. Maybe the one aspirations I kind of have is to go and have a good stint in county stuff, whether that's for a month or however that looks. We have the Essex boys come over here, and Mickey Lewis, our old bowling coach, comes and brings a few boys back, and we chat to them, and it's a great setup they've got over there. So I'd love to go have a little crack there. Maybe there's something that I'm looking forward to doing, but in regards to playing for Australia A or for Australia, I'm not bothered about that. If that happens, that's great. It's a privilege, but I'm just, at the moment I'm trying to play for Victoria, Melbourne Renegades and Melbourne Cricket Club when I'm back there, and play as well as I can.
You're only 23. That's all ahead of you. And from a Victorian angle, you've got, I think it's 4 home games before the BBL break, and you are creating an environment where you're hard to beat here in Victoria with the way the wickets are. You sort of got a nice little sort of almost like a fortress happening. Do you see that as an advantage still going into this year and the opportunity to really set up your season by getting points on the board early?
Yeah, well, I think how you're going at halfway mark sets you in good stead for the back half of the year. The home games, we've had a bit of success here recently, so looking to keep that up, both the Junction and the G. We've got 2 homes, I suppose. I think we've got a good belief that we can go anywhere and win, and we do have a day-night game, I think, at the Gabba, which we've all penciled in and are looking forward to that. So, I think we've played at all these places a million times now. A lot of the boys have. So wherever we go, we think we can win. But I do think you want to pride yourself on being hard to beat at home, and hopefully we can start that off at the Junction and then at the G in a couple of weeks.
It's a big start. Tasmania at home, and then in a couple of weeks' time against New South Wales at the MCG, where all the Test players are apparently in action. It's going to be a fantastic sort of, I think, climax to October, the start of the season. That game, I think it's going to be on Fox Sports, so it's a really big game for the team, for the state, and for the fans that watch. Thank you very much for joining us today, the first of the new season of the Vic State Cricket Podcast. You can see here with the... you might have to take a couple of those home with you, but with all the tinnies support, we appreciate that as well. And we're not only going to be speaking to regularly to the players that are playing now, but also, as we've done previously, some of the stars of the past as well. It's great to be back for another season.